Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and a whole lot more. 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. BTI, your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive service and repair, and tires for all driving needs.
And a good Monday afternoon, and welcome to Tiger Talk. Gerard Wellbrock with you. We'll be talking Fort Hays State football with head coach Chris Brown as the Tigers get set to open up the 2021 season this Thursday night at home against number 4 Northwest Missouri State. It should be a fun night of football. Class is back in session, and we're glad to be back with you for another season of Tiger Talk back here at the Golden Q. So certainly glad to have you join us. We'd invite you to join us for lunch. Anytime you can come out here every Monday, 12:15 until 1 o'clock for the program. A new feature this year, if you'd like to submit a question to the coach, you can go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Go to the Fan Zone link, tab down there, and then look for Tiger Talk. I think it's right under the live stats, but look for Tiger Talk on the Fan Zone link, and then you can submit a question. If we use the question on the program, you'll have a chance to win a $25 gift certificate from the Golden Q to be used at your pleasure. So if you have something you've been wanting to know from the head coach, you can submit your question there on the Fort Hays State Athletics website at FHSUathletics.com. We are joined by head football coach Chris Brown, and good to see you again. We're just kind of chatting before we went on air. Got to remember how we do this whole football thing again. Obviously a bizarre, I guess now off-season last year. No football in the fall. You did some scrimmages in the spring. Just a crazy, crazy time. It's got to feel so good to be back and now to be so close to getting the season underway on Thursday night. It
is. Just this opportunity to talk with you today is like, okay, we're back to some normal football. Now we're getting ready to play some games. And, we're looking back. It's been like 21, 22 months since we've actually played our last football game, and that's against Northeastern State, when we were there, and it's fun. It's exciting. Our kids are excited. This week of practices, we started, we've been practicing for like 14, 15, probably longer than that, 20-something days, and our kids have done a good job. You can tell they're excited. They're locked in. You can tell they've taken the time to get themselves better as football players, not only in the weight room, but just with their film study, understand the playbook and what we're trying to get accomplished. And it's starting to take more of a coach approach to how they prepare instead of just a player approach. So I'm proud of our kids, and I'm excited. Our coaches are excited. Hopefully the community of Hayes is excited and ready to pack that place on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think I figured up it'll be 655 days between games. That's obviously going to be that way for about everybody. And it had to be strange. And I know we got a chance to chat a little bit during that time. And you played you had some scrimmages in the spring, which I'm sure were helpful, but not the same as playing a game, but with those opportunities to practice in the fall. I know you kind of flipped it. You kind of used the fall once you could kind of start doing things. That was your spring, and then you had whatever season you had. But were you able to gain some knowledge, and were those scrimmages beneficial to your guys?
Yeah, they were. The way things were, you have so many championship days and then your spring days as well, and you can use those kind of whenever. So I just, with the way everything was going with the COVID there in the fall, I just wanted to make sure that we took the time to make sure everybody was healthy and ready to go. So we started in October, used our 15 practices. But then I wanted to use all those championship days in the spring so we could actually do a lot of film study, practice when we wanted to practice, go do some scrimmages. And, we took advantage of that. And then plus the weights and all that stuff go with it as well because, once you're done with your days, you have to give the kids 2 weeks off. So I want to make sure I made that last as long as we could, until dead week, which is 2 weeks before finals, is when you got to kind of finally stop all those things. So we used every opportunity we had. We took advantage of it, and we didn't practice every single day. We took some practices where it was offense versus defense, and some practices we were just completely separate, and just teaching. So I thought it was good. I thought kids thought it was good. We didn't wear them down and beat them down, and because that's a lot of football, and we had to keep them interested and do different things. But I thought it went really well, and I thought our coaches did a great job with their kids as well and getting them ready. And we got a lot of new faces coming up, and there's a lot of young kids there that we had to teach the game of football to and get them, understanding how we do things, and I think it worked out for us.
Well, I thought one of the things, and we had a chance to talk in the off season, you could maybe focus on stuff that even with you have spring, and obviously it's a little slower pace and a chance to work on things, but it goes quickly. And then when you get into fall, it's your camp flies by quickly. You're preparing for games. A chance to kind of go back and just work on things that you just normally would not have time to do. It's kind of be up to the individual student athlete to do that. You're able to maybe do some of that stuff in the spring or fall last year.
Yeah, it was. Just just a lot of the fundamentals and techniques of the game, and just kind of our concepts of how we want things to work, whether it was an offensive play of where we want the receivers, what the quarterback's going to be thinking, and getting every kid coached up besides just a few and letting everybody learn. And same with defense, getting guys lined up properly, kind of what your techniques are, your fundamentals, and, how we're reading secondary coverages, how the secondary's reading routes and things like that. So we really took a lot of time just to teach the game of football and what we're thinking as coaches and trying to get that into their mind as well so they start playing, at a high level.
Well, the Tigers hosting Northwest Missouri State. Easy one out of the gate for the Tigers, the number 4 team in the country. We'll eventually get into that game. Obviously a lot to cover since we had Coach last with us on the program. It's been about 22 months since we've done that, but we're going to get you ready for the kickoff on Thursday night, the Tigers and the Bearcats. Tiger Talk is brought to you by the Golden Q. We are live at the Golden Q once again this season. We're just 2 blocks east of campus. Stop on by. The Monday special is the grilled cheeseburger. That's maybe my favorite burger here at the Golden Q, but they've got many to choose from. As you know, the best burgers around all at the Golden Q. If the game's on, they're open. We'll take our first break. More on Tiger Talk with head football coach Chris Brown right here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. Toss to Hazlett, coming near side of the 10, to the 5, to the pylon. Is he in? What's the call? Touchdown, Fort Hays State. And that was action from almost 2 years ago. Fort Hays State, Northwest Missouri State. Last home game played at Lewis Field for Fort Hays State late in 2019. We'll talk more about that game and preview the Bearcats and the Tigers for Thursday night. Tiger Talk brought to you in part by Adams Brown. They do more than just run numbers and file tax returns. They work hard to become strategic allies. Adams Brown, strategic allies, and CPAs. We are live at the Golden Q, your home for Tiger Talk. Stop on by 2 blocks east of campus. We're here Mondays 12:15 until 1 o'clock for Tiger Talk. And again, if you want to submit a question for Coach Brown, you can do so by going to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, fhsuathletics.com. Find the Fan Zone tab there near the top. Hover over that. Look for Tiger Talk, submit your question, and if we use it, you'll be registered for a chance to win a $25 gift card from the fine folks here at the Golden Q. Fort Hays State, Northwest Missouri State opens up the season. We talked a little bit about how you handled the COVID year and with everything, and then camp gets here, and I think one of the things we heard from some of the players is I mean, the summer and the long extended off season was great, but boy, when camp came here, it was a different intensity and just the physicality, all those little things you kind of forget. Was it different for you and not having a camp last year and then trying to get back into the swing of things this year?
It was, because like fall, spring, with everything that was going on, there's a lot going on anyway, just mentally with the kids and things like that. And, we're not like we're mean to them, but there's a different, intensity level and adrenaline's flowing and, anxiety and all that stuff when it goes into a football season that, you're trying to really get kids accomplished where, fall, spring, we're a little bit more lax, trying to teach them. But now these things have to be done. Things got to be done the right way. Your steps got to be right, whatever it is. Your eyes have to be right, knowing the offense, knowing the defense, knowing the special teams. We don't have time to wait around. I mean, we've worked on it for a whole entire year. You should know what we're doing. So things have amped up a little bit. That 14 days of camp was, we didn't have it last year, and it wore on me as a coach. I was like, man, I don't know, am I getting old? Am I,
Well,
so
I don't.
I am. But it was a different, feeling. And I mean, it just so when you lose it for that year, you didn't realize how hard it really truly is to go through that 14 days of, 6:30 breakfast and, with practices and meetings and lifting and, not getting home till 9:30 at night. Those were long days and they're grueling days. But, I thought our kids handled it well. I thought they did a great job of being everywhere they were supposed to be, staying alert, taking care of their bodies. But it was a grind, and it did wear me out, but I'm finally caught back up, and I'm ready to go. It's game week now, so there's no excuses now.
Did you change anything, or did you have a different approach after taking a year off? Maybe learn something about yourself, your staff, your team, or whatever. Did it change your approach to camp this year?
Not really. We had to get after it. The only thing that was different was, we don't usually do a lot of live tackling and or do a lot of drills against each other. And, we did some things this year, even though the NCAA's kind of cut us back with the board drills and the Oklahoma drill and all those things that you can't do. So you had to kind of modify, some drills because we hadn't tackled in a long time. We haven't hit in a long time, you know what I mean? So we had to use that time to really get used to, linebackers tackling tight ends or running backs, and our running backs and tight ends getting used to being tackled and getting that, having that hit, and just one-on-one blocking with the O-line, D-line. We can't be the head up anymore, so we got to shade them off and just kind of do some run blocking, and so it's not so much contact, but they're still getting that physical part of it. But wide receivers, DBs, working on blocking, working on catching and getting tackled, and that's something we never do, and we had to do that just to make sure our kids were getting. When you don't get hit for a while and you start getting hit, things kind of change a little bit. So we had to get them ready, get them acclimated to that, do as much game situational stuff, but in a controlled setting so we could control it and make sure our kids didn't get hurt.
And that's probably the biggest change. You look at college sports and even high school sports and obviously professional in football, that is the one area you don't get much live tackling anymore. I mean, everybody's just, keep your people fresh and ready for game day, and that's the one area that is kind of lax. It'll be interesting after the long delay and to see if that has a positive benefit for maybe you doing some of that live this year.
Yeah, well, we'll see, and we'll probably, of course, if it benefits us, we're going to continue doing it. If it doesn't, then we'll have to reevaluate and see what we're going to do. But I think it was good for our kids. I think they enjoyed it too because they like. When you just do the scrimmages stuff against each other and you're just kind of doing, scale of your team, it gets kind of old. But when you actually get that one-on-one competition against each other, guys are watching you, the eyes are on you. You want to make the play and you want to be the guy. You want to be the guy that gets embarrassed. So it really, makes you lock in a little bit more, makes you focus a little bit more because you want to make the play and you want to get it done. But, I thought it went really well. And you never know. You want to keep your kids healthy. And that's the most important thing. You want to go into week one with every guy ready to go. Everybody's legs are fresh. There's not really – you're going to have bumps and bruises anyway, but there's nothing that's really going to hold them back from being their best on game one.
You feel happy with how camp went?
Very happy. I'm very pleased with our kids. Really pleased with how we've prepared so far, for Northwest. Last night underneath the lights, you could just feel the energy, the excitement. The kids were flying around, probably one of the better practices I've seen in a long time. Tonight we'll be under the lights again and on Tuesday. And I think that's just that feeling of, hey, it's here. It's really, really close. Amps things up a little bit more, the excitement level. And even our scouts, just their excitement, to be on the field and make our offense and defense better was tremendous yesterday. So we're ready. It's exciting, and I think our kids will be prepared.
Thursday night, not that far away. Tigers and the Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State. We'll take another break. We'll start breaking down the team a little bit. There'll be a lot of new faces. You might have to buy a game program when you head to the stadium on Thursday to keep track of some of the new Tigers. We'll talk about them and some of the guys you've probably heard about when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you by the Golden Q in Hayes, 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. More with head coach Chris Brown right after this timeout on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
There's a toss to Hazlett. He's going to throw downfield for Ramsey. Touchdown! Fort Hays State! The former Abilene quarterback throws a touchdown pass, and the Tigers lead 16-0. Manny Ramsey wide open in the back of the end zone. That was some action from not a year ago. I'm going to say that all night Thursday last year. It's actually 2 seasons ago. Fort Hays State and Northwest Missouri State, another epic. We'll talk about the Bearcats here a little bit later on in the program. We're live at the Golden Q. Tiger Talk here on this Monday. And again, if you have a question for the coach, easy. Go to the Fort Hays State Athletics website, FHSUathletics.com. Go to the fan zone. Hover down there, and you'll see Tiger Talk. You can submit your question, and if we use it, a chance to win a $25 gift card here from the Golden Q. Tiger Talk also brought to you by The Taco Shop. Dine-in, carry-out, or fast delivery. The Taco Shop on 8th Street, or call 625-7114. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. And G&L Tire and Automotive. Before you hit the road, stop by G&L. They've got tires for all driving needs and budgets, complete automotive service and repair, and you always get a free estimate before the work is done. G&L Tire and Automotive, they're on the bricks in downtown Hayes. Let's start with the offense. Chance Fuller. Folks probably have heard of him. Pretty good quarterback. I think one of the best. I think the best in the MIAA. But I guess when you look at your offense, you kind of start there. And, we've seen it years and years and years. If you got a really good quarterback, you got a chance to have a really good team, and you kind of start with, I think, one of the best in the MIAA. Yeah,
we do. I think Chance is a tremendous football player. He's smart, coach on the field, knows exactly what we're doing, offensively, can read a defense really, really well. You give him some time, he can make some things happen. And, he's done a better job of getting himself, out of some trouble and learn how to get himself out of some trouble, as well when things do kind of break down. But, just an all-around great kid, great family. Brother plays for us as well. He's going to be a tight end for us someday. But the kid really cares, and he cares about his teammates, and he really communicates well with his teammates as well. And he gets those receivers on the same page, tight ends, running backs. But he's a kid that knows the game, and that's cool to have, as your signal caller and getting everything ready to go on Thursday, and having our kids prepared and ready. And he sees things, on the field that sometimes we don't see, and he can relay that to us as well. And he seems to become more of a vocal leader. I think he's always kind of led by example, but it seems to be, and I think that's just the natural maturation process. He's now a junior, but he's been in the program a long time. You'd expect that, but he seems to be a little bit more vocal with his players and his team. And he is, and it's in a good way, right? If it's something that he didn't see or he wanted them to see or they weren't in the right spot, he does a good job of just communicating, hey, this is where I exactly wanted you to be. This is what I saw. This is what you need to see, and you just get him on the same page, but that's who he is. He's never really going to raise his voice, scream at anybody. He's not a Coach Brown by any means, anything like that. But he's pretty calm, cool, collected. He just explains things to the kids and gets them ready. But, yeah, very excited for him and how the season's going to turn out for him. That quarterback to receiver relationship, not just obviously the social and off the field, but on the field, seeing the same thing, being on the same page. Did you feel you lost any of that through the long break, and do you feel that they were able to get it back? I don't think so. I think just, with what we were able to do in the fall and what we were able to do in the spring, and then all the things they do in the summer, together with the 7-on-7 and just route running and things like that, just their communication through that whole process, makes them better every single day. And, we had kids here and we had kids doing that, and they were all talking amongst themselves. And I think, when you get a group of guys like that truly care, things are only going to get better. And I think those kids really made themselves better, through this whole process. We could have used it as an excuse, but our guys use it to make themselves better, and that's what I'm proud of our kids for.
Offensive line, you look at you have Pat Kelly, left tackle, Amari Ingram-Bolden on the left guard. Those two have been veterans. They've been through a lot of battles in the trenches, two of the best in the league. But then the other three, center, right guard, right tackle, there'll be new faces there, at least new guys competing for it. You've got some returners who are battling. You've added a few players. How has that battle gone? It feels like offensive line-wise, maybe the biggest and possibly the deepest you guys have been, maybe since you've been the head coach here at Fort Hays State.
It is. It definitely is. We've got more kids there than we've ever had, from some of the kids that we brought in and then a lot of the freshmen that we brought in as well through the recruiting process. And, there's probably 19, 20 of those guys, and we're used to playing like with 10 to 11, and that's hard to do. But we do have guys competing, for positions now where before it was like, you had your starters and you knew these guys were your backups. Where now we don't know yet. Guys are still battling it out. We're still going to figure out who's best for Thursday and who's picking it up the best in practice and who's making the plays. And, some of those spots we don't know. But some spots, they're solidified and they got their job.
The running game is an area, boy, you go back to Kenneth Iheme, he was so good, and not to slide anybody since then, but it just feels like it hasn't been to the level it was back on those two playoff years. You've added some new pieces. You got a senior transfer in Tristan Tucker, who played on a playoff team at Harding, and then Keelan Chapman, a junior college transfer, and Adrian Soto, who I think got action in one game in that blowout at Northeastern State to kind of get his feet wet a little bit. It seems to be those three guys battling, but it feels like that running game maybe has a chance to be a lot better this year.
It does, and I think it all starts up front, with those guys that we have. I feel like those guys up front, with the way that they've been working, the things that they've been doing, the communication that they've had with one another, and Coach Bryant, getting those guys ready is really what's going to spark a run game. But, your back's got to help them out. Sometimes the back just wants everything. The back just gets the ball and he runs, right? But they have to get their reads as well. We got certain plays, and you're reading certain people on certain plays. So, they got to get their reads, set up those blocks for those linemen, and, get vertical downhill and be able to see how things are moving in front of them. And, if they can do that, we could be really good. But I feel pretty good with those three guys. I think they all, have something a little bit different that they bring to the table. But all in all, with that running back crew there, I think we could be pretty talented.
And they have always, it seems like, had a big part in the passing game. Whether you move them into a slot or just a dump down out of the backfield, it seems like your running backs have to be good pass catchers because it seems to be a big part of the offense.
It is, you just don't want a guy that's just a blocker, and protects your quarterback. And then you get another guy, in the passing game. Now they have to defend that as well. So I think it just opens up some different things, But again, if you can protect up front and take care of your quarterback, you can get those guys out. If you can't, now you got to keep them in. So we like to use them, and they got to be great pass catchers, just like Kenneth Iheme we were talking about, just a little bit ago. He's one of those kids that knew exactly how every block was going to be done, and he knew exactly how he was going to set it up and hit that hole, and then he was great in the pass game as well. So we need those guys to do the same thing and set up to play at his level, because he truly did care about the game, and he knew exactly what was going to happen before it even happened.
Well, folks, we're at the scrimmage with Southwestern Oklahoma State. Had a chance to see Keelan Chapman get a big run, so hopefully see a lot of that this year. And then the wide receivers. You have a couple of, mainly Manny Ramsey. He had a big role a couple of years ago. He's back. You've added some freshmen. You've added some transfers. There'll be some new faces in there. But, again, a group that looks like they've got a chance to be talented. And it's almost, you just kind of expect it. It's been that way for so long. But maybe your thoughts on the wide receiving core going into this year.
Manny, he's the lone returner.
He's the man.
Right? He's, you had Beebs for all those years, and you had Harley for all those years, and, Andrew J. and those guys that come in and out. And but now you look back and going, okay, it's Manny. That's the only guy that's really returning that's played for us. But, we did add a few guys, and it's just, them understanding what we're doing offensively and, not panicking on game day. And, because sometimes it happens when it's your first game and you're playing in this conference, and it's tough, and it's a big first game as well. But I think we got some guys that can do some great things for us. They run good routes. They got some good speed, and they're strong with the ball in their hands, and I think they can make things happen. But that's unknown, right? But we'll find out. We will definitely find out.
Well, Thursday's going to be it's going to be a good litmus test with the Northwest Missouri State. We're going to take another break. We're going to talk about the defense. A lot of new faces there. It's going to be a young defense going into this season. We'll talk about it when we return. You're listening to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q, just 2 blocks east of campus in Hayes on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM.
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
This to force overtime at Lewis Field. Snap is low. The hold down. The kick is up. It's got enough distance. Will it get through? It is. Goal! It's good! He hit it! 56 yards! A career long for Dante Brown! And we go to overtime! Yeah, that was one of the more memorable plays of 2019. That 56-yard field goal to force overtime in the Tigers' last home game against Northwest Missouri State. Their next home game will be against Northwest Missouri State. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We're live at the Golden Q. It's brought to you in part by BTI, your John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Greensburg, Ness City, Hoxie, and Pratt. BTI, our family, in partnership with your family. And by Golden Belt Bank, where their Golden Belt Bank is here to make every story shine brighter. It's the way they do banking, one story at a time. Check them out at goldenbeltbank.com. We'll get to the defense, but we heard the highlight from Dante. Let's go with the special teams. That is, and we were talking the other day, I mean, you look at the kicking game, I mean, you go Dante, and then you had Brandon Brown before him, Drew O'Brien before him, and you can go back. I mean, it's been over a decade, more than that. I mean, you're looking almost 13, 14 years. That kicking game, you knew what you had, and you didn't worry about it. Not that there's not going to be a good kicking game, but maybe the biggest question mark as far as the special teams goes is because you've kind of known the known commodity going in, and that's not the case this year.
No, we've had those, and I've been very fortunate to have some really, really good kickers and really, really good punters, for us since I've been here. And now we need to make that continue, right? We got a couple guys right now that are battling out for that kicking spot with Fernando Avila Castro and Parker Janke and Jonathan Honeycutt, and there's a couple others too, and we're not quite sure yet. We're still letting them compete, letting them battle, and the same with the punting, position as well. So it'll be interesting. We had the Brown, and we couldn't find another Brown, so we're figuring out which one of these next guys is coming in and going to do the job, and they have some huge shoes to fill. And hopefully they don't feel any pressure off that, but there is pressure. And especially in our conference, to put points on the board. Any chance you get to put points on the board, we need to be able to do that.
Well, and we heard that highlight, what the kicking game and the role can be, especially in a game like Northwest, which in the recent years has been the last three decided by a total of 5 points. So it usually comes down to a play or two, and it could be a special teams play. Let's talk about the defense a little bit. I guess if you pick one area where you put a big giant question mark, it would be the defense, simply because of the youth. And I think I figured it up from your projected starting 11, 6 will be making their first career start in a Fort Hays State uniform. So that's always a little challenging. Some of them are redshirt freshmen, but I guess you have 5 who have, and you have 5 veterans, so it's kind of an interesting mix of the old and the new. And I think you brought up an interesting point last week. At least of all those 5 veterans, they're spread out, and it seems like you have one in each position to maybe help bring some of those newcomers along.
Yeah, it is, and the good thing they had 22 months to prepare, for this game as well. So, but there is, like on the D line, we have a lot of new faces. Some guys that maybe played just a little bit, but never really truly started. But you got Swopes in there, and you got Sanders, who played a lot of ball for us. And, just hopefully them and the way they play can teach these younger guys of how it's done and get them playing with the same motor that those guys usually play with. But, I feel good about D-line. We added a few new faces, and I think they're pretty athletic. Main thing with the D-line, just get off the ball, play hard, play physical, and make them block you, and then linebacking position, Lake's there. And, he's played some games for us, but has never really been the guy. But now he's the guy, and next to him is, Miles Menges, who was a quarterback in high school. Transitioned over to linebacker for us, and this will be his first start, as a linebacker in a huge game. And then in the secondary, we do have Jordan Starks. Jaimin Preston's played a lot. So we do have some guys that have some experience back there, but there's not a lot at the other three positions. But with the communication with the Jordan and Jaimin's been able to do with those guys and getting those young men ready, I think we'll be fine. It's just settling in, getting that first game. It's usually the first series. Get the first series out. Hopefully you don't give up some big play, defensively that gets the momentum on their side. Just keep everything up front, play hard, go tackle, be aggressive, and great things will happen. But I'm pretty excited about that crew. They're young, but they're very talented, very athletic, group with some good speed as well.
It's going to bring that up. I mean, it's a young group, but I think just hearing you and just seeing what we've seen in practice, there's a lot of talent there, but you just need some experience, and unfortunately you come out against a prolific offense like Northwest Missouri State. That's the old baptism by fire type thing. They're going to get that. Miles Menges, you mentioned him. Certainly the track record with players who played at Claflin and now Central Plains have been really, really good for Fort Hays State. And he looks like a young kid who's got a chance to be really, really good. 6'4", 230. He's kind of growing into his frame. And that's a position for years, again, you don't worry about. I mean, you look at all the great linebackers that have come through Fort Hays State, and those two look like they have a chance to be good, but I guess the verdict's still out just because they haven't played a lot of games in that position, in that role.
It is, but I mean, again, like you said, there's been some really, really good ones that have come through, but I think these two could be just as good as those guys. And, Lake's very smart. I mean, he's like a brick wall. I mean, guys bump into him, and he doesn't even move, but the guy's laying on the ground. Menges is really athletic, can cover some ground, got some great length. I mean, if I'm a quarterback looking across the middle and I see a 6'4", 230-pound linebacker whose wingspan's, who knows how big it is, that's hard to throw around. And, I don't know. I'm excited about this, too. I know they're going to do some great things. It's them believing in themselves and just getting the job done, because I know they can do it.
You touched on Jordan Starks, your safety. He is just, I mean, from day one, I know you're excited about it, but he has proven it year in and year out. He had a big game against Northwest when you played 2 years ago, but he kind of seems to be maybe that leader on defense. A lot of times you see that in that safety position, but just continues to get better and better and better. We had a chance to visit with him at Media Day back in July. Obviously a great young man who had an outstanding career at Tulsa Union, one of the great high school football programs in the country, really, but he just really seems to kind of be that guy everybody rallies around on the defensive side of the ball.
And they do. It's just his demeanor. Ryan, he's just a true football player. He's never too high. He's never too low. He's just that even-keeled and just gets the job done and knows exactly how to get people lined up and where they need to be at, and his communication skills are great. And I'm really excited to see him play this year. I think he's going to have one of his best years that he's had since he's been here. And I know he's going to get out there and make some plays for us.
Well, and one thing about, excuse me, Coach Harris on the defense, I mean, you kind of don't worry about it. And he's had young defenses in the past, and they end up being just fine. And you look at the results, I think Fort Hays State's been allowed the second fewest points in the last 4 years defensively. And so you kind of don't worry about it. But, is it a situation you feel, maybe you have to score a few more early on this year just to allow those young guys to kind of get comfortable and fill those shoes?
No, I don't know. I still think they're going to come in and do a good job. That's the kind of faith I have in our coaching staff on that side, and the faith I have in those kids that I know they're going to play at a high level, and they're going to do their job and get things done. We always want to score more points,
right. Well, of course.
All the time. So if we score more points, we're going to score more points. But I think that group's talented enough and physical enough, and I truly feel that they're still going to be the top in this conference, of being one of the top defenses in this conference as well.
Well, we're going to take our final break. We're going to come back and talk about Thursday's game. The Bearcats of Northwest Missouri State, the Tigers of Fort Hays State. The last three, as good a football as you could ever ask for. And we'll see what round 4 holds on Thursday. We'll preview with the coach when we return. We're at the Golden Q. It's Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at HaysPost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, real country. 99 KZ Country.
Snap back to Fuller, under pressure, throws across the middle. It's caught! Touchdown! It was almost intercepted. Dandre Reed scores, and the Tigers are an extra point from forcing a second overtime. That was a remarkable catch. 2 years ago, Fort Hays State, Northwest Missouri State at Lewis Field. They'll renew that rivalry on Thursday night to open up the 2021 season. Tiger Talk brought to you by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute. Expertise, technology, and compassion all right here. They're the official orthopedic physicians for Fort Hays State Athletics. Tigers and Bearcats, it's finally here. Round 4. As we said, the last 3 have just been epic games. A couple of wins in Maryville for you. The Bearcats won in Hayes 2 years ago. So, it'd probably be nice after not having a season last year to have maybe I say easier game. It's the MIAA. Everybody's tough, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Not the number 4 team in the country, but yet that kind of forces everybody to be on point and be focused for that first one.
And that's what I told her, because it's this game. You got to be at your best. They got to be at their best. We got to be at our best. Are there going to be mistakes? Of course. I mean, we haven't played for 22 months. First game, there's always a lot of mistakes. That's usually when you make your biggest strides, is from game 1 to game 2. But it is what it is. They're going to come in here thinking the same way that we are. They have a lot of new faces, as well, offensively and defensively. Some guys that haven't played any football. I mean, played football, but
right.
not, in the MIAA and getting their feet wet as well. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be fun. It's, we got most physical team's going to win. The team that can, not turn the ball over on offense and create some turnovers on defense, and not have the stupid penalties, and not give it the big play on defense, and have some big plays on offense. I mean, those are the important things, and we just got to control the emotion, right? There's going to be a lot of emotions. There's going to be a lot of excitement, some anxiety, but we got to be able to learn to control that, and then just step on the field and play.
They have a new offensive coordinator, and I'm sure. That's a wrinkle anytime, but then when you haven't played for as you said, 22 months, I guess that is even more of a challenge for you guys.
It is, because if we would have got them in the spring, it's 15 practices with his team, and then we're into the fall, and they got camp, and then we're playing them, so it's not real sharp. Well, now he's had, almost a whole year, to get his guys ready, understanding his offense and how they're doing things. So now they're going to be a little bit more prepared. So, So what do you do defensively? How do you figure out what they're doing? There's no film, right? You don't have any idea, what they're going to do. You kind of base it off the personnel that they've had, in years past, based off the quarterback and what he can do. So, it might be a few things that we haven't seen, and we just got to be prepared for, right? Just keep everything in front. Don't give up the big play and make them earn everything.
Well, you mentioned the quarterback, Braden Wright. He's right up there with Chance in that conversation for best quarterback in the MIAA. Obviously, the postseason recognition for both of them shows that. About a minute left, though, but he kind of makes them go, and he can do it with his legs. He becomes a challenge because it's not just throwing the ball.
He is. He can run. He's athletic, and he can throw the ball as well, and I'm sure he's only gotten better, in this year's time. So we're excited. I can't wait for Thursday. I can't wait to have our fans in the stands again cheering us on, and hopefully we put a great show on for them, and I just want to thank you guys for all you do for us.
Well, Chris, I appreciate it. We can't wait till Thursday ever. Have a good rest of the week of practice. We'll see you at the stadium Thursday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chris Brown, coach of the Tigers. 7 o'clock kick at Lewis Field. We're on the air on the Tiger Sports Network over on Tiger Radio Mix 103 at 6 o'clock. Tiger Talk brought to you this afternoon by the Hayes Orthopedic Institute, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, BTI, G&L Tire and Automotive, The Taco Shop, and and Adams Brown. We'll see you again next Tuesday. We've got the Labor Day holiday, so our next program will be a week from tomorrow, 12:15, from the Golden Q on the Tiger Sports Network.